Kwon Do-hoon is a cold-blooded, top-tier secret agent. With just a counter-sniper rifle, he can eliminate a target from an unimaginable distance. But once he gets home, he turns into a henpecked, asthma-ridden husband. Just to make his wife smile, he runs shirtless around the apartment complex. His sexy appearance makes even the neighborhood aunties blush. When more and more people start gathering, he immediately puts on a flashy martial arts performance. After that, he greets his beautiful wife upstairs, making sure everyone knows such an outstanding man is already taken. Throughout their 10 years of marriage, whenever there's an important family occasion, Do-hoon always mysteriously disappears. He even missed their daughter Kwon Min-seo's first birthday. On this day, the organization assigns him to arrest several drug dealers. He takes them all down effortlessly. But when his teammates arrive to clean up, he suddenly remembers. It's their 10th wedding anniversary. He hurriedly calls his daughter and learns that his wife has already gone on a solo trip to Thailand. Now he panics. His teammates can only tell him to deal with it himself. To make up for it, Do-hoon goes to the airport early to pick her up, but URA gives him the cold shoulder. URA then demands to see Do-hoon's boss. But every time, Do-hoon claims that Director Oh is away on a business trip. Furious, URA kicks him out of the car. Do-hoon buys fried chicken to appease his wife, but URA completely ignores him. The couple remains locked in a cold war the next morning until their daughter can't stand the tension anymore and insists on going to school. At that moment, both of their phones receive a notification. URA has entered her ovulation period. The two are instantly awkward. Do-hoon, however, sees this as a chance to repair their relationship and tells his wife to read the message. Long ago, they made an agreement. Whenever it's ovulation day, they would discuss the origin of human life, then celebrate with a glass of red wine afterward. The thought makes URA's heart flutter for a moment, but seeing her husband's ingratiating smile immediately irritates her again. All day long, Do-hoon bombards her with messages. It's only when URA sees her late mother-in-law's memorial notice, almost as if urging her to forgive him, that she finally softens and calls him back. She tells him that today is his mother's death anniversary and asks him to come home early in the evening and to buy a bottle of red wine on the way. Do-hoon immediately understands that his wife has forgiven him. He excitedly vows that even if he dies, he'll come home tonight. But in the next second, he's boarding a high-speed train, transforming back into a ruthless agent headed for an amusement park. When he discovers the target is accompanied by a young daughter, he cancels the mission without authorization and leaves with his weapon. That night, the family has already prepared everything for the memorial service, just waiting for Do-hoon to arrive. URA anxiously calls him, but no one answers. The family assumes he's been sent on another business trip by Director Oh. Meanwhile, Do-hoon is in a bar. The lipstick mark on the glass beside him suggests he had just been with a woman. Just when everyone is about to fall asleep, Do-hoon finally rushes home. He hurriedly changes clothes and complains that Director Oh is inconsiderate, sending him on a business trip on such an important day. URA has heard enough of these excuses. Just then, Do-hoon's phone rings again. It's Director Oh. After a moment of thought, URA hangs up the call and sends a message telling Director Oh to come over. The memorial ceremony begins shortly after. The whole family launches into their annual synchronized crying ritual, each person crying louder than the last, leaving even the newly married sister-in-law unsure whether she should cry too. Suddenly, the doorbell rings. URA says she ordered pig's feet delivery. Her younger brother rushes to open the door, only to find a stunning woman standing outside. She turns out to be Do-hoon's boss, Director Oh Cheon-rain. Everyone had assumed Director Oh was a man, never expecting her to be a cool, elegant beauty. Regaining his senses, Do-hoon asks why she's here. Director Oh calmly replies, "Didn't you call me?" Do-hoon looks completely confused. At that moment, the real delivery arrives. Director Oh instantly senses something wrong. She tosses the flowers aside and slams the door shut. The delivery man is actually an assassin. The two begin fighting in the hallway. Inside the apartment, the family starts interrogating Do-hoon. Yuri admits that she invited Director Oh and tells Do-hoon to let her in. Outside, Director Oh throws the assassin into the elevator, calmly covers the security camera, and transforms into an elevator battle goddess. When Do-hoon heads downstairs and notifies headquarters to clean up, the fight is already over as the elevator doors open. Do-hoon asks why she led the assassin here. Director Oh says she'll take responsibility and handle it. Upstairs, the father gets impatient when they don't return and throws a pig's foot downstairs, shouting for Do-hoon to come home. Director Oh also prepares to go up, ignoring any attempts to stop her. She insists on meeting Do-hoon's scheming wife. Once upstairs, she warmly greets everyone, her refined, tea-green aura on full display. She even brings gifts, new clothes for the women. URA claps awkwardly, and only then does everyone realize what's going on. The family begins criticizing Do-hoon for always leaving on important days, even missing his father's surgery. Seeing Do-hoon surrounded and attacked, Director Oh immediately uses her tear tactic, taking all the blame onto herself. URA is so angry she laughs. Seeing the beauty cry, the father quickly comforts her, saying that being a superior isn't easy either. If his son takes the money, he should do the job properly, and should keep working hard. Do-hoon nods frantically in agreement. In the end, everyone is deeply moved by Director Oh's tears. There's no doubt he won this round. URA feels extremely annoyed. After several rounds of drinks, Do-hoon quickly calls a colleague to take Director Oh Cheon-ryan home. If she doesn't leave now, his baby-making plan for the night will be completely ruined. Just as the couple is about to get intimate, their daughter Min-seo suddenly barges in. Do-hoon wants to take her back to her own room, but Min-seo insists on sleeping with them. Just like that, the little spark between the couple is instantly extinguished. The next day, after dropping Min-seo off at school, Do-hoon eagerly makes an appointment with his wife for a big battle that night. But URA has already lost interest, saying she doesn't want intimacy to feel like homework or a task to be checked off. Do-hoon, however, doesn't care. He expresses his desires like a love-struck dog in heat, though his words are phrased quite poetically. Still, how could the other parents around them not understand? He even puts on a public performance of clapping for love, embarrassing URA so much that she can only helplessly nod in agreement. Only then does Do-hoon go off to work, fully satisfied. He even arranges in advance for his younger brother to pick Min-seo up from school and have her stay over. Night quickly arrives. Do-hoon rushes to URA's cafe and finds that she's still working. Without a word, he helps her pack up and takes her home. Just as he excitedly carries URA inside, he freezes. Everyone in the family is there. It turns out there's a water outage in the father's apartment complex. The younger brother says the TV is broken and they need to stay over to cheer for the Korean national football team. Min-seo also insists that the whole family sleep together on the floor tonight. Once again, the baby-making plan goes up in smoke. Still unwilling to give up, Do-hoon messages his wife, saying he's booked a hotel room for the next night. URA can only agree. The next day, Do-hoon receives a new mission from the organization. He arrives at a tennis court frequently visited by the target and begins selecting a suitable sniping location. He finally locks onto a distant hotel and conveniently arranges for that very hotel to be the place he'll meet his wife that night. Using binoculars, he spots the target. He drills a small hole in the glass, assembles his prized weapon, raises the rifle, takes aim, and pulls the trigger in one smooth motion, easily completing the assassination. At the same time, URA leaves work early and heads to the hotel they agreed on. Unexpectedly, she sees Director Oh Cheon-ryan in the lobby. A seed of suspicion instantly takes root. She wants to step forward and ask for an explanation, but she's a moment too late and can only watch as Director Oh enters the elevator. Meanwhile, Do-hoon has scattered rose petals all over the room. When the doorbell rings, he rushes over impatiently to open it, only to find Director Oh standing there. Seeing his flamboyant outfit, Director Oh asks if he's meeting his wife. Do-hoon replies that he doesn't have much time. The organization has just issued an urgent mission. The target will leave the country in 3 days, and Do-hoon must eliminate him as soon as possible. The intel shows the man is involved in cross-border human trafficking, specifically targeting minors. At this moment, URA arrives at the room door. Instead of knocking, she quietly opens it with the keycard. Inside, she hears the two engaged in an intense conversation. Everything falls apart. Do-hoon hurriedly tries to explain, telling her not to misunderstand. Seeing tears well up in Yura's eyes, he asks Director Oh to say something too, but Director Oh is momentarily stunned, unsure what nonsense to say to conceal their identities. Unexpectedly, Yura speaks first, inviting Director Oh to go downstairs for a drink. At the table, she says nothing. The two women keep drinking again and again, until Director Oh truly can't drink anymore and asks how long this is going to continue. She explains that she and Do-hoon are purely colleagues. Holding back her emotions, Yura grabs her glass and lunges forward. Director Oh wants to retaliate but restrains herself. Yura downs another drink, then finally says what's been weighing on her heart. She decides to give Do-hoon to Director Oh, but she is not allowed to take the family with him. Director Oh Cheon Ryan finds Yura's words amusing and decides to tease her a little. She deliberately says that Do-hoon really is impressive. Yura misunderstands, thinking she means that kind of impressive. But Director Oh calmly adds that Do-hoon isn't her type at all. At most, she'd only borrow him if she ever needed to. That remark completely crosses the line. Yura finally snaps and starts yelling at her. Director Oh bursts out laughing and at last explains the truth about her many years of cooperation with Do-hoon. After her sincere explanation, the misunderstanding between the two women is finally resolved. Meanwhile, back in the hotel room, Do-hoon has been waiting so long he's about to lose his mind. He calls his wife, but no one answers. He then calls Director Oh to ask what's going on. Director Oh calmly lectures him, telling him to cherish Yura. A wife like her doesn't come easily. Those words are overheard by Yura as she returns from the restroom. She silently sits down beside Director Oh, lowers her head, and soon falls asleep. The next day, while carrying out a mission, Do-hoon receives a call from his wife. To his shock, she unusually speaks in a soft, suggestive tone, hinting that she wants him to come home early that night to drink red wine together. Do-hoon immediately understands what she means. Just after he hangs up, the target appears at a restaurant, accompanied by several children. Do-hoon follows them all the way to a church. It turns out the target is a priest. Do-hoon rents a room at a nearby hotel, takes out his weapon, assembles it carefully, and aims at the church from the window. Just as he's about to pull the trigger, a little girl suddenly appears. Do-hoon immediately halts the operation. He doesn't want a child to witness such a bloody scene. After the girl leaves, he aims again. But then his phone rings. Director Oh informs him that the plan has changed. With no choice, Do-hoon packs up and leaves. Not long after, the priest exits the church. A foreign man approaches, raises his gun, and fires a single shot. The priest is killed on the spot. Elsewhere, Do-hoon rushes to watch his daughter Minaseo's stage performance. There, he runs into a foreign friend he hasn't seen in years and invites him over to his house as a guest. Just then, Director Oh calls, saying she's obtained a photo of the assassin who killed the target. When Do-hoon sees it, he's stunned. It's his old friend. He can't believe that someone he's known for so many years is actually a killer. At first, Do-hoon doesn't expose his friend's identity. The next day, Director Oh finishes digging up the assassin's personal information and arranges a backup team to arrest him. At that moment, the assassin is meditating in a park. As he sits down, he sees an incoming call from Do-hoon. He answers, but before he can say a word, a bullet pierces straight through his neck. From a high-rise far away, a female sniper lowers her rifle. And that woman is Do-hoon's wife, Kang Yura. On the surface, she appears to be a gentle, devoted mother. In reality, she is a cold-blooded, merciless assassin. A special bullet ends Do-hoon's friend's life. Afterward, Yura calmly goes to the supermarket to buy ingredients for dinner, seamlessly returning to her role as a housewife. It turns out that when John previously visited their home, he gifted them a special desk lamp. When the lamp is lit, a line of text appears, triggering Yura's memories of a dark chapter from her childhood. By chance, she later notices the emblem on John's body, a symbol belonging to the warrior organization. Yura's eyes instantly turn cold. She decides to eliminate anyone who threatens her family. Director O comes to examine John's body. The bullet hole in his neck shocks her. This is the work of a top-tier assassin's weapon. Do-hoon asks who killed his friend, but Director O refuses to say and orders him not to get involved. Staring at the fatal wound, Do-hoon's instincts tell him the killer is a true expert. He contacts the intelligence division to request John's full file, but the next day, he unexpectedly receives someone else's information instead. Confused, Do-hoon goes to headquarters to question it, stating that he was only following orders. He knows deep down that Director O is behind all of this, but as a professional agent, he chooses to focus on completing his mission first. After several days of surveillance, he discovers that the target lawyer takes a bus every day and always gets off at the final stop. Do-hoon begins searching for a suitable sniping location and calls URA, telling her he'll be working late and that she should eat dinner without him. Coincidentally, URA still has some loose ends to clean up on her side. Meanwhile, Director Oh Cheon-ryan arrives at the hotel where John once stayed. Intelligence reports say that assassins from the Warrior organization always carry a backup phone. But no matter how thoroughly they search, that phone is nowhere to be found. Director O orders her team to take the surveillance footage back for review. When they replay it, a suspicious figure appears. It turns out URA had arrived one step ahead and taken the phone. Director O also discovers that the safe has been tampered with. She immediately realizes this must be Do-hoon's doing and calls URA, saying she'd like to come over for a cup of tea. At this moment, Do-hoon is assembling his sniper rifle at the ambush point, waiting for the target lawyer to appear. He locks on and takes aim, but the target senses something is wrong. Do-hoon pulls the trigger at once. The bullet shatters the glass and hits the target, yet something feels off. He approaches personally to confirm the kill and realizes things aren't that simple. The two grapple fiercely. Ignoring any code of honor, the lawyer pulls out a knife and stabs Do-hoon in the abdomen, then takes advantage of the chaos to escape. At the same time, Director O arrives at URA's front door. Just as URA is about to open it, John's phone suddenly rings. Unaware of the danger, Minseo answers, and the caller directly calls out URA's name. When no one opens the door, Director O grows suspicious. At the same time, she receives news that Do-hoon's mission has failed and immediately rushes to his location. Back at home, URA quickly turns off all the lights, draws the curtains, rearranges the knives in the house, and prepares herself for a possible fight. Seeing that Do-hoon still hasn't returned, she calls him, but no one answers. At this moment, Director O is treating Do-hoon's wound. Do-hoon asks what John's true identity was, but Director O avoids the question and instead asks about the target's current status. When she hears the target is called the lawyer, her expression changes subtly. Do-hoon instantly senses that she's hiding something. An urgent notice arrives for Director O. Before leaving, she warns Do-hoon not to interfere in matters involving the lawyer or the tattoo. The next day, Do-hoon secretly infiltrates the lawyer's residence. Unbeknownst to him, the lawyer is already lurking in the shadows. As Do-hoon returns to the underground parking lot of his apartment building and steps out of his car, a gun is suddenly pressed against his head. The lawyer forces him back into the vehicle and demands to know where the safe is. Do-hoon realizes the safe must contain something extremely important. He deliberately distracts the lawyer with conversation, then strikes swiftly and subdues him. At the exit, Do-hoon's family is waiting for him so they can celebrate his father's birthday together. Unexpectedly, he ignores them completely and drives off, leaving everyone standing there in confusion. Do-hoon ties the lawyer up and interrogates him. After a brutal round of questioning, the lawyer finally reveals the safe's password. Inside, Do-hoon finds a hit list, and to his shock, the client behind the assassinations is Director O herself. After further pressure, the lawyer confesses that the person Director O wants dead is someone called Xiaoma. Do-hoon confronts Director O, trying to extract answers from her, but she remains extremely cautious. He goes back to the lawyer again, only to discover that the man has already been silenced. What Do-hoon doesn't know is that Director O ordered the hit. When he opens the lawyer's clothes, he finds no tattoo. With no choice, Do-hoon rushes off to attend his father's birthday banquet. The family celebrates briefly with food and drinks, then he sends them home. Back downstairs, Do-hoon realizes he left his phone in the car and returns to the parking lot to retrieve it. Ura, meanwhile, brings Min-seo upstairs. At the doorway, she encounters an unexpected visitor. The man turns out to be an assassin who trained in the same batch as Ura within the organization. He once had feelings for her, but Ura never spared him. In that world, only by killing the other could one survive. The scar on his face was left by Ura herself. He advances toward her step by step. At that moment, the elevator doors open. Do-hoon's instincts as an agent immediately alert him to danger. Do-hoon immediately grabs Tae-gyo and slams him against the wall, demanding to know who he is. Worried her identity might be exposed, Ura rushes over to stop her husband. When Do-hoon still refuses to let go, Tae-gyo suddenly shouts, "Assassin's wife!" Both Ura and Do-hoon freeze in shock. Realizing there's been a misunderstanding, Do-hoon quickly pulls Tae-gyo into a hug, laughs it off, and warmly invites him into the house as a guest. Upstairs, Ura glares at Tae-gyo with murderous intent. After everyone in the house falls asleep, she quietly approaches Tae-gyo's room holding a pen, warning him to leave her family alone. Tae-gyo says he didn't come to cause trouble. As long as Ura completes the mission John left unfinished before his death, her family will remain unharmed. Ura is torn. Early the next morning, Tae-gyo receives a call from his subordinates and prepares to slip away quietly, only to find Do-hoon's family standing at the door. It turns out they've prepared a welcome ceremony for him, complete with a lavish breakfast. The old man even personally feeds Tae-gyo. The family's enthusiasm overwhelms him. They start with a cross-arm drink to bond, then drag him into making kimchi together. The younger brother pulls Tae-gyo out to buy meat, but Ura quickly insists on going with them. At that moment, the elderly woman cuts her hand. Ura has no choice but to stay behind to treat the wound, growing increasingly anxious. By the time the meat buying is done, the younger brother receives a call and rushes off, casually giving Tae-gyo the door password. When Tae-gyo returns, he finds the house empty. He puts the meat in the fridge, puts on an apron and gloves, and continues making kimchi. For a moment, he almost forgets why he came back to the country, until he realizes he's the legendary king of assassins. If anyone saw him like this, he'd be laughed to death. That evening, Ura returns home to find that her husband and daughter aren't back yet. She calls to ask, only to learn that Do-hoon asked Tae-gyo to pick Min-seo up from school. Ura panics and rushes out, only to see Tae-gyo returning with her daughter. She gently puts Min-seo to sleep, turns on a lullaby to prevent any noise from waking her, then picks up a screwdriver with a murderous expression and walks toward Tae-gyo's room. Inside, Tae-gyo is smiling as he looks at a portrait, drawn by Min-seo and given to him as a gift. Ura charges in and attacks, but after years as a housewife, she's no longer a match for Tae-gyo. He drops a business card and tells her to eliminate a retired assassin named Butterfly. With no other choice, Ura agrees, for the sake of her family. Around the same time, Do-hoon uncovers Butterfly's identity and learns that director Oh Cheon-ryan was trained by the Warrior Organization, with Butterfly as her mentor. To make her operation easier, Ura pays out of pocket to send the entire family on a trip out of town. Do-hoon, however, has to stay behind for work. Ura begins tracking Butterfly, mapping out her daily routine and scouting the best assassination point. That very night, she sneaks into Butterfly's home and takes out her special bullet. When Butterfly sees the unique symbol engraved on it, she immediately recognizes Ura as her former subordinate, Agent 27. Ura tells her she will die tomorrow, unless she leaves that very night. But Butterfly refuses. She doesn't want to abandon her family. Ura is deeply shaken by those words. That night, she can't fall asleep. She gently strokes her husband's face, afraid of the day her family might learn the truth about who she really is. Early the next morning, Butterfly gets into Director O's car and tells her, "Agent 27 came to see me." Director O is stunned, recalling the cold, ruthless girl from the organization. Later, Butterfly stands outside a school, watching her daughter emerge from the gates. Suddenly, a bullet strikes her. From a distance, Do-hoon watches in shock, because he didn't fire that shot. He immediately scans the surrounding buildings for a possible sniper and spots a familiar figure. Adjusting his scope, he freezes. It's his wife, Kang Ura. At the same moment, Ura realizes the sniper watching her is her seemingly useless husband. Both of them stare in disbelief. Ura immediately retreats, packs up her weapon, and escapes. Do-hoon rushes into the opposite building, desperate to confirm whether the shooter was really her, but by the time he arrives, she's already gone. Ura is now in Taijio's car, speeding away. Her phone keeps ringing. It's her husband, but she doesn't dare answer. When they reach Taijio's hideout, he throws down a stack of photos and reveals the truth. The person responsible for eliminating the children back then was director Oh Cheon-ryan. Ura is stunned. Back then, Korea was plagued by foreign spies. In response, the government secretly created a hunting organization, kidnapping orphans from across the country and subjecting them to brutal, inhuman training. Those who failed were quietly eliminated. Every day consisted of brainwashing and survival training. Later, when a new government alliance was formed, an order was issued to dismantle the secret organization. Its members were hunted down and killed. Unable to bear it, someone secretly let Taijio and Ura escape. After growing up, Taijio returned for revenge. That's why he sought out Ura and told her that the next target was Director Oh. Before leaving, he handed her a stack of documents and told her to take a good look at her husband's real identity. Meanwhile, Do-hoon analyzes the shooting angle and realizes the bullet was not fired by Ura at all. The real killer was positioned elsewhere. At that moment, he receives a message from headquarters. On the assassination list is his wife's cousin. On the other side, Ura hesitates over whether to open the file about Do-hoon. In the end, she can't resist. When she opens the folder, she finally learns the truth. Her useless husband is actually an agent working for a government organization. Elsewhere, Taijio receives a message from a little girl he once protected. Thinking of her mischievous smile, even the king of assassins can't help but laugh. Do-hoon returns home as usual and sees Ura calmly cooking, as if nothing has happened. For a moment, neither of them knows how to face the other. Even their daughter senses something is wrong between her parents. The next morning, Do-hoon learns that Ura has gone to attend an event, one that seems to be connected to Director Oh. Before leaving, Ura tells Director Oh that she already knows Do-hoon is working for the country, then leaves behind a cryptic remark. Director Oh is puzzled. Suddenly, she recalls the little girl from years ago and finally realizes that Ura is the escaped Agent 27 she once spared. Torn over whether to tell Do-hoon the truth, meanwhile, Do-hoon traced Taijio's phone location through headquarters. He and Ura split up to search. At that moment, Taijio was outside with Miniseo, warming themselves by a fire. He saw a message from Ura on his phone and assumed it was another order tied to family loyalty. Soon after, he received the same message again. Only then did he realize Ura had misunderstood, believing Taijio had killed her adoptive parents. In truth, when Taijio arrived back then, they were already dead. Taijio also noticed a shadow flicker past in the corner, but he didn't go after it. Deep down, he didn't want Ura to be found by the organization. Miniseo then said she wanted fried chicken. Taijio told her to stay put and not run around while he went out to buy food. At that moment, Ura noticed a villa with lights on. She went inside and found her daughter's backpack. Looking through the window, she saw Miniseo in the garden. Yu rushed forward and hugged her tightly. Minno thought her uncle had brought her mother and happily said she had a great time playing today. Ura immediately called Do-hoon and told him she had found their daughter. Not long after, Taijio returned with a box full of food, only to discover that Miniseo was gone. Taegu follows the direction and soon spots Kang Ura and Miniseo in the distance. Looking at the full box of food he never got to give Miniseo, suddenly, Kwon Do-hoon appears and punches him hard, warning him never to go near his family again. Taegu stops him and calmly asks, "Does your family include number 27 too?" He assumes Do-hoon doesn't know Ura's real identity yet, but the look on his face makes him realize he's wrong. Shock flashes across his expression. Do-hoon sends Min-seo to stay with his brother. There are too many unanswered questions between husband and wife. When the couple returns home, their instincts as an agent and a killer immediately tell them something is wrong. Do-hoon carefully opens the door, and sure enough, two assassins rush out. Working in perfect sync, the couple takes them down effortlessly. Do-hoon quickly checks to make sure URA isn't hurt. Just then, the doorbell rings. It's his father. Panicking, they hurriedly clean up the scene. As they hear the old man entering the password, URA slides the partition door shut and pretends it's broken to buy time. When the door finally opens, Do-hoon's father steps inside and sees the house in complete disarray. Do-hoon is taping up the unconscious assassins and secretly calls headquarters to handle the cleanup. In the living room, the father assumes the couple had a fight. Do-hoon fumbles for an explanation and can't come up with anything convincing. URA quickly covers for him, saying Do-hoon learned from his father how to hide private savings. The old man is instantly embarrassed. Seizing the moment, Do-hoon brings out some rice wine and gets his father drunk. Only then do they manage to move the assassins out. The next morning, Do-hoon wakes up to find URA already gone. She's left him a message saying she'll be back once she's taken care of something. URA meets Taegu with a gun, but instead of killing her, she demands to know who the real mastermind. At that moment, URA receives a new order: assassinate Minister Oh. At the designated location, the National Intelligence Service Director and Minister Oh both appear. URA moves to another building and eliminates the hidden sniper. The director signals with his left hand, and a gunshot rings out, but Minister Oh is unharmed. Scanning the area, URA realizes Taegu has been shot. The director signals again, but Minister Oh is still safe. The director's face darkens. It turns out URA had already killed the real sniper in advance. Furious, the director pulls out his gun and fires repeatedly at Minister Oh. URA immediately returns fire, but the director escapes. Thankfully, Minister Oh is wearing a bulletproof vest and survives with only an arm injury. She escorts Minister Oh home and treats his wound. There, Taegu is tending to his wound when the doctor appears. He instantly realizes the organization has abandoned him. Just as the doctor is about to shoot him, Do-hoon arrives and saves him, knocking the doctor down with his gun. Taegu warns Do-hoon that URA is in danger, because the Alliance's final target is URA herself. Do-hoon speeds off to save his wife. URA storms the Alliance headquarters, determined to eliminate every assassin to protect her family. Mid-fight, she realizes she's facing Do-hoon's colleagues. Before they can sort things out, another armed team storms in and opens fire. Outnumbered and pinned down, they're nearly overwhelmed, until Do-hoon arrives. Fighting together, they wipe out the attackers. The next day, Do-hoon confronts Minister Oh and learns the ambush was orchestrated by the director. Determined to end it himself, he prepares to act. Elsewhere, Taegu quietly goes to Min-seo's school, intending to see her just once before leaving. Min-seo notices him immediately. URA watches from a distance and doesn't interrupt. With Min-seo's help, Taegu and URA finally clear up the misunderstanding from years ago. Do-hoon later learns the director has cancelled all public appearances. Protected by powerful figures, he's being smuggled out through a secret water route to Thailand. Do-hoon intercepts him at the port, but only meets one of his men, who threatens him with photos of his family. Forced to choose, Do-hoon lets it go. With everything finally over, Do-hoon resigns and devotes himself to his family. He and URA open a cafe together. They return to Thailand to pay respects to URA's adoptive parents. That night, they sit in the restaurant where they first met, quietly reliving the sweetness of their first love.
Steps fade, the echoes call, 1,000 dreams begin to fall, and it's over, it's over. The curtain's drawn, the story fades, but the feeling's strong.
Korean Netflix like, comment and subscribe.